Revision Units 1 and 2. Unit 1 Chi From Tradition to Reform. For a long time, language teaching looked more like studying Latin than learning to speak. The grammar translation method reigned supreme. It focused on memorizing vocabulary lists, translating sentences, and mastering grammatical rules, all in the mother tongue. Speaking or listening, that was considered secondary, if at all. But by the mid-19th century, voices of reform began to rise. Marcel, Prendergast, and Gouin were among the first to argue that we learn a second language best by using it, by hearing it and speaking it. Their ideas mirrored how we acquire our first language, through exposure, repetition, and meaningful use. The reform movement that followed gave structure to these ideas. Viator and Sweet, for example, insisted on the importance of phonetics and natural speech. They laid the foundation for the direct method, famously developed by Berlitz. His classrooms were immersive, no translations, no explanations in L1, just the target language used in context. This shift marked a turning point, from language as an object of study to language as a tool for communication. The 20th century asked a new question: what is language exactly? Three theoretical perspectives answered. The structural view saw language as a system of interlocking parts. Saussure and Bloomfield treated language as a code built on phonemes, morphemes, and syntax. This view led to teaching methods like audiolingualism, which drilled these patterns through mimicry and memorization. The functional view emerged next. Halliday, for example, argued that language isn't just a code, it's a tool. We use it to inform, to persuade, to question. D.A. Wilkins developed the notional functional syllabus, which focused on communicative functions rather than isolated grammar points. Then came the interactional view, rooted in sociolinguistics. Delheims challenged the idea that grammatical knowledge was enough. He coined the term communicative competence, pointing to the ability to use language appropriately in real situations. These views didn't just describe language, they redefined how it should be taught. Methodology followed theory. As linguists debated what language is, educators debated how it should be taught. The audiolingual method, based on structuralism and behaviorism, treated learning as habit formation, stimulus, response, reinforcement. Teachers drilled sentence patterns, aiming to produce automaticity. In response, the cognitive code approach emerged. It emphasized understanding rules and using them flexibly. Learners were encouraged to analyze, hypothesize, and problem solve. Then came the humanistic methods of the 1970s. These focused on emotion, motivation, and learner autonomy. CLL used group counseling techniques. Suggestopedia relaxed students with music and positive suggestion. The silent way made learners responsible for their own discoveries. Total physical response turned the classroom into a dynamic physical space. Learners responded to commands with actions, engaging their bodies as well as their minds. Each method brought something valuable. None was perfect, but all contributed to what came next. Enter communicative language teaching, or CLT. This approach took stock of what had come before and shifted the focus decisively toward real-life communication. CLT doesn't ignore grammar, it reframes it. The goal is no longer to produce perfect sentences in isolation, but to make yourself understood in context. It drew on a wide range of theories. Vygotsky's emphasis on social interaction, Krashen's input hypothesis, Swain's focus on output, and Long's view of interaction as negotiation of meaning. The curriculum changed too. Wilkins' syllabus organized learning around functions like requesting or apologizing. Canale and Swain proposed 4 kinds of communicative competence: grammatical, sociolinguistic, discourse, and strategic. The teacher's role also evolved, from authority figure to facilitator. Students worked in pairs and groups, completed tasks, solved problems, and collaborated in meaningful ways. Language became a means, not just an end. Think Unit 1 recap. So what have we seen? We've traced a journey from grammar-heavy methods to communication-driven approaches, from memorizing rules to solving real problems through language. The communicative approach rests on solid theoretical ground. It integrates structural understanding, functional awareness, and interactional use. Its methods are adaptable, its focus learner-centered, and above all, it recognizes language as a human activity, one driven by meaning, purpose, and connection. Unit 2. 1. Foundational theories of acquisition. If Unit 1 asked how we teach, Unit 2 asks how we learn a language. In the mid-20th century, behaviorism dominated psychology. B.F. Skinner argued that language is learned like any other behavior, through imitation, practice, and reinforcement. But then came Chomsky, who shattered that view. Children, he said, don't simply imitate, they generate language, often in ways they've never heard. He proposed a language acquisition device and the theory of universal grammar. Piaget connected language to cognitive development. As our thinking evolves, so does our capacity for language. And then Vygotsky reframed language as a social process. His concept of the zone of proximal development emphasized the role of interaction, scaffolding, and guidance. Together, these theories highlight that language learning is not just behavioral, it's cognitive, social, and deeply human. But what happens in the mind of a second language learner? Selinker called it interlanguage, a mental system that's neither L1 nor L2, but something in between. It's dynamic, evolving, and rule-governed. Errors aren't just random mistakes, they're signs of development. Learners overgeneralize rules, simplify structures, and experiment. These errors can be developmental, transfer-based, or even fossilized, meaning they become fixed despite further exposure. The idea of interlanguage changed how we see learner output. It's not broken language, it's emerging language. In the past, errors were something to correct. Now there's something to understand. S.P. Corder was a pioneer of error analysis. He showed that mistakes reveal learners' hypotheses and strategies. Oxford later classified learning strategies. Direct strategies involve the language itself, guessing, repeating, predicting. Indirect strategies involve planning, monitoring, and social skills. These strategies aren't just used instinctively, they can be taught. That makes them pedagogical tools, not just psychological insights. When we know what learners are doing internally, we can respond more effectively as teachers. 4. Individual differences and SLAY models. Every learner is different. Age, aptitude, motivation, anxiety, they all play a role. But how does input become acquisition? That's what Krashen's monitor model tries to answer. He distinguishes between acquisition and learning, introduces the idea of the effective filter, and insists that comprehensible input is the key. Swain adds another layer. It's not just input that matters, but output, pushing learners to reformulate and refine their speech. Schmidt's noticing hypothesis suggests we only learn what we notice. And Long's interaction hypothesis emphasizes negotiation and feedback. Newer models like dynamic systems theory and technology-enhanced learning acknowledge that language learning is complex, nonlinear, and embedded in real-world contexts. 5 Unit 2 recap. Language acquisition is never linear. It's a dance between input, output, interaction, and individual traits. Interlanguage and error analysis remind us that mistakes are not failure, they're progress in disguise. And the best instruction doesn't just feed learners input, it helps them notice, experiment, reflect, and engage. Joint takeaways. In the end, both units tell the same story. We can't teach effectively unless we understand how people learn. Good language teaching is not about choosing the right method. It's about aligning what we do with what we know about how the mind works. That means valuing communication over correctness, embracing errors as signs of growth, and designing learning environments where learners can engage, take risks, and become confident users of the language. Language isn't just grammar. It's thought, identity, and connection, and teaching it is both a science and a craft. For more information, join us at your YouTube channel or Instagram account.